We can hear you, Earl.
All right, recording is good to go. Go ahead, Mr. Halpin.
Okay. Meeting of the Anderson Board of Zoning Appeals. My name is John Halpin and I serve as your chair to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Due to the declared in the nation, in Ohio, and in the township, and the order of the director of the Department of Health issued March 12th, 2020. In response to the COVID-19 emergency, this meeting is being convened telephonically. The agenda for today's meeting is available on our website. That's www.org. Just click on Board of Zoning Appeals under upcoming events to review information for case 20-2020 BZA, case 21-2020 BZA, case 22-2020 BZA, 20 BZA. The board will accept public testimony via phone, video during the public hearing for case 2020, 21, 22, and 23 before public testimony is provided. I will read an oath and you must swear in before speaking. We ask that all participants mute their phones and only unmute if speaking. If you are going to speak, please state your name and address. It is also helpful to speak directly into your phones as opposed to using the speaker feature. At each complete a sign-in sheet including their name and address. If at some point during or after the meeting, if you would like to electronically sign in, simply send an email to bbowers@andersontownship.org. And I'm supposed to not repeat. That's bbowers@township.org. That's capital A, Anderson, capital T, Township. The meeting begins. I would like to identify the appointed Board of Zoning Appeal members in this meeting. I'm John Halpin, Chair, Jeff Nyer, Vice Chair, Steve Haber, Paul Shekels, Paul Simon are joining in the meeting via phone, including Brad Bowers, which is our Planning 1, PJ Gibbs, Planning 1, and Kyle Gibbs, Planning and Zoning Co-op. Each of us will be beginning to sign in. Those joining us can follow. I'm getting some feedback. Is everybody muted that needs to be muted? We thank you for joining us and appreciate your patience and understanding during these unprecedented times. This meeting at the Anderson Township Board of Zoning Appeals is hereby called to order. This board was established pursuant to section 519.13 of the Ohio Revised Code by the Anderson Administrative Relief to any person or entity adversely affected by the Anderson Township zoning resolution. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Shekels?
Unmute our board members.
Present.
Thanks, Brad.
Mr. Sion?
Here.
Mr. Haber?
Here.
Mr. Nye?
Here.
Mr. Halpin?
Present. Thank you for attending the teleconference meeting at the Anderson Township Board of Zoning Appeals. Please be aware that this meeting is being recorded. Present its case after being sworn in. The board members may then ask questions of the appellant. After that, all persons supporting the appeal will be permitted to testify one at a time. After being sworn in and recognized, When the person supporting the appeal are finished, those opposing the appeal will then be permitted to testify and/or ask questions of the board after being sworn in and recognized by the chair. Are there any changes to the agenda?
This is Brad with Anderson Township. I do have one slight change. For number 12, item number 12 on the agenda, we will need to journalize case 11, 2019 BZA as well. That was left off. So that'll just be at the end of the meeting.
Okay, then the agenda is accepted. Now, as far as the minutes are concerned, are there any?
Sorry, Mr. Halpin, can I read the roll call for approval of the agenda?
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Sion?
Aye.
Mr. Haber?
Aye.
Mr. Nye?
Aye.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye. Okay, are there any changes to the minutes for October 1st? Hearing no, could I have a vote to approve the minutes?
Haber here, move we approve the minutes from our October 1st, 2020 meeting.
Paul Sion, I second.
All right. Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Sion?
Aye.
Mr. Haber?
Aye.
Mr. Nye?
Aye.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye. Okay, please read the staff summary for case number 2020.
Thanks, Mr. Halpin. Before we do that, would you be able to swear staff in?
Okay. Raise your right hand and swear and/or affirm. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
I do.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Halpin. Is everyone able to see the presentation?
I can.
Okay, perfect. All right, so this is for case 2020 BZA. The applicant is John and Leslie Ketchum. They are also the property owners. This property is located at 8580 Batavia Road. The zoning is AA residence. And the request before you this evening is a use and area variance request to allow a 28 by 45 accessory structure on the property without a single family residence and within the front yard area, where accessory structures are not a permitted use in the AA residence zoning district unless incident to a single family residence. And this is per Article 3.1B1, Article 3.1C14B, Article 3.1D2, and Article 6.1 of the Anderson Township zoning resolution. The applicant is requesting to construct a 28-foot by 45-foot accessory structure on a property without a single family residence and within the front yard setback area. The building will be a steel pole barn building with a gravel floor, off-white in color to match the existing accessory structure that is located on the property. The accessory structure is proposed to be used for personal storage by the property owner and applicant. The property in question was purchased by the applicant in December 2019. The existing accessory structure on the property was built in 1996 and received an area variance from the Board of Zoning Appeals through case 16-1996 BZA to allow the structure to be located in the front and side yards of the property at 8546 Batavia Road. When we were researching this case, the site plan for case 16-1996 showed the properties at 8580 and 8546 Batavia Road as one parcel. However, staff believes that the two parcels have always been separate, but were under the same ownership. And that's why there's a little bit of discrepancy with what was granted during the 1996 hearing. This is a map of the property. As you can see, it goes directly in between westbound State Route 32 and eastbound State Route 32. So it has frontage on both east and westbound State Route 32. And quite a bit of it is located within close to the right of way as well. This is an aerial map of the property. As you can see, there is the existing accessory structure that's located on the property. The property has access to both eastbound State Route 32 and westbound State Route 32 here to the north. This is a topography map of the property. The property itself is relatively flat, but slopes down to the west. And if you have driven in that area, you're coming up the hill on State Route 32 going eastbound and going down a big hill on westbound State Route 32. This is the proposed site plan that was submitted by the applicant. According to the applicant, the proposed accessory structure will be 45 feet from the property line to the west. So that is to the left here to the west. And then 62 feet from the edge of highway on the south side. However, measuring off of Cagis, a lot of this area is considered ODOT's right-of-way. So in looking at the site plan and measuring off of Cagis, staff determined it would be about 12 feet from the south property line. This is an image of the property showing the existing accessory structure that is already on the property. According to the site plan, it would be located to the left of this existing accessory structure. And this is the proposed location of the proposed accessory structure. State Route 32 here is off to your left, and that's eastbound State Route 32. And this gravel driveway goes back to the property at 8546 Batavia Road. This is looking from the general area of the proposed accessory structure towards eastbound State Route 32. It's off in the distance here, and as you can see, there is existing vegetation that's located that would help screen the proposed accessory structure. However, this is located within ODOT right-of-way, according to Cagis. This is looking directly to the west at the property. So this is in the area where eastbound and westbound State Route 32 merge into one roadway again. As you can see, there is existing vegetation, but again, according to Cagis, it's located within ODOT right-of-way. This is the property looking towards the east, where State Route 32 splits coming down the hill. We put the sign up there to make it more visible. And this is looking at the existing vegetation that's on eastbound State Route 32. This is, again, looking towards the west. State Route 32 eastbound is on the left side, again, showing the existing vegetation. And this is looking at the existing accessory structure. Again, the proposed accessory structure is going to be located to the left of the existing accessory structure. This is from the driveway entrance to eastbound State Route 32. And this is looking at westbound State Route 32. To the right is existing vegetation, and the proposed accessory structure is off to the right as well. So before you, there are two different variance requests this evening. We have a use variance request. So due to the nature of the property, staff felt it was appropriate to have the board weigh in on a use variance request. I'm going to read the use variance request findings first, and then I would prefer if the board deliberated on that prior to going through the area variance findings, because if the use variance is not permitted, then the area variance becomes null and void. If the board agrees with that direction, I can do that, or if they would like me to go through it all before deliberating, if you don't mind weighing in now, that'd be great.
I'm okay with hearing the whole story.
PJ, you may need to unmute some of the board members.
This is Jeff Nye. I defer to the chair on this one.
I think we should go ahead. Let's hear both variance requests and then we can make a decision.
Okay, great, thank you. So we'll start with the use variance findings. So standard one for a use variance is there are exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions applying to the subject property that do not apply generally to other properties in the same district or vicinity. So staff finds that the property in question has frontage on both east and westbound State Route 32. This extraordinary circumstance, which only applies to the 5 adjacent properties, does not generally apply to other properties in the AA residence zoning district. Due to the size of the property in question, a single-family residence would not be permitted on the property without requesting an area variance from the BZA. Standard number 2, the special circumstances or conditions do not result from actions of the property owner or any predecessors in title. The special circumstance of having double frontage on State Route 32 does not result from action of the property owner or any predecessors in title. Prior to 1955, the property only had frontage on of State Route 32 on the south side of the property. However, in 1955, State Route 32 was expanded by adding 2 additional lanes on the northern portion of the property, therefore creating an additional required front yard setback and limiting the area of the property where a single-family residence could be constructed. The property is located in the middle of a 4-lane state highway, which is not a desirable area to construct a single-family residence. Standard number 3, such variance is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a substantial property right of the applicant that is possessed by owners of other properties in the same district or vicinity. Due to the unique circumstances of the property, a permitted use in accordance with Article 3.1B1 of the zoning resolution would not be able to meet the setback requirements of the AA residence zoning district. The size of the property in question also does not meet the minimum lot area requirement of 1 acre for the AA residence district. The authorization, and this is standard number 4, excuse me. The authorization of such variance will not be materially detrimental to the public welfare or injurious to property in the district or vicinity in which the property is located. The proposed accessory structure will be used for personal storage, according to the applicant. The proposed accessory structure will be screened by existing vegetation to the north, south, and east. However, according to CAGIS, the existing vegetation is located within ODOT right-of-way. In addition, the Board of Zoning Appeals granted a variance in Case 16, 1996 BZA to allow the existing accessory structure to be located in the front and side yard portions of the property. And these are, again, the standards to be considered for the use variance request. Now I'm going to move into the area variances findings. Staff is of the opinion that the variances would not be substantial. Due to the unique orientation and circumstances of the property in question has frontage on both east and westbound State Route 32. Due to the size of the property, there is limited area for the applicant to build a structure that would be in compliance with the zoning resolution. In addition, in Case 16, 1996 BZA, a variance was approved to allow an accessory structure in the front and side yards. The square footage of the proposed accessory structure is substantially less than what would be permitted on the property if there was a principal structure. Again, the proposed accessory structure is to be approximately 1,260 square feet, where 1,890 square feet would be permitted on this property. The essential character of the neighborhood would not be altered, and adjoining properties would not suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variances. The proposed accessory structure will be screened by existing vegetation to the north, south, and east. However, according to Cagis, the existing vegetation is located within ODOT right-of-way. The variances would not adversely affect the delivery of governmental services. The property owner's predicament cannot be feasibly obviated through some method other than a variance. Due to the unique orientation and circumstances of the property owner would not be permitted to construct a permitted use on the property in accordance with Article 3.1 of the zoning resolution without obtaining a variance through the Board of Zoning Appeals. Staff is of the opinion that the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed by granting the variances, and this is due to the unique orientation and circumstances of the property, the existing vegetation that screens the proposed accessory structure from State Route 32, the location of the existing accessory structure, and the size of the proposed accessory structure. And here are the findings for the area variances that are to be considered. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Is there any questions from the board? Hearing none, then am I being heard by okay.
Yes.
Hearing none, then will the appellant or the appellant's representative please unmute yourself, speak into your phone or microphone, and state your name and address.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I have never done this before. This
Well,
is
now I have. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
my name is Leslie Ketchum. I am the co-owner of the
Mr. Halpin,
property.
can we swear her in, please?
Well, I was going to get her name and address first, and then I was going to swear.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm speaking. I'm sorry.
Okay, raise your right hand and swear, or do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth you got?
I do.
Okay, not your name and address, please.
Leslie Ketchum, 708 Franklin Avenue, Terrace Park, Ohio, 45174.
Thank you. Go ahead.
You're welcome. Oh, I thought I was just going to answer questions. PJ, as you know, my husband is out of town. The reason we are asking to put the additional accessory structure on the property is in order for us to store our motorhome, which cannot go into the existing structure because of height limitations of the doors. So our motorhome is, okay.
Questions from the board. Are there any questions from the board?
This is Paul Sion. I have none.
None from Nye.
Haber, none.
Chuckles, none.
Steve? Oh, you said none. Okay, I have no questions either. Is there anybody that wants to speak against this appeal? Okay. Since there's no one to speak, I guess then,
Mr. Halpin,
yeah.
did we check if anybody else wanted to speak in favor of the appeal?
Does anybody else want to speak in favor of the appeal?
I would like to speak on behalf of that, yes.
Okay. Well, give your name and let me swear you in.
Sure.
your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, I need your name, please.
My name is Chris Buning, and I live at 8546 Batavia Road.
And you,
Yes, I just want to say that I'm fully in favor of John being allowed to get this variance so that he can store his motorhome. We live next door, and we have no problems with this at all.
any questions from the board? All right, then, well, thank you very much.
Mr. Halpin?
Yes.
Mr. Halpin, Haber here. To the last presenter who was in favor of granting the variance, I did have a question. I noticed there is a drive between the two properties. Do you have access to your home without going into that driveway that goes across both parcels?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you're not dependent upon the entrance on 32 from 85 from 8580. Is that correct?
That is correct. I have an additional entrance to my property located to the west of this.
Cool. Thank you very much. I have no other questions.
Okay. Now, we will now take testimony. Are there any opposers? None. Then that's it then.
Mr. Halpin, this is Haber. I have a question for staff, please.
Okay.
Mr. Ginty, in your history, I was confused about something where you say the existing accessory structure was built in 96 and received an area variance from the Board of Zoning Appeals, and then you cite the case to allow the structure to be located in the front and side yards of the property at 8546. Is that a typo? Are we talking 8580 here?
Yeah, so staff pulled the file and reviewed the site plan. So on the site plan, it shows that it is listed as one property. And so there was a variance granted to allow the existing accessory structure that would have been located in the side and front yard of the one property if both 8546 and 8580 were combined into one parcel. But as I pointed out, the parcel at 8580 Batavia Road does not meet the requirements set forth in the AA residence zoning district. So staff is unsure how that parcel came to be, and we have our doubts that it was ever connected to 80, if it was ever one parcel to begin with. But we were judging off of the site plan based on case 16-1996 BZA.
I actually have some information about that.
Okay.
So I purchased the property at 8546 Batavia Road at the end of April of this year from Luke Ketchum, John's brother. And they told us that they sold off that portion, the 8580 portion, to John in December of 2019. So they were originally combined as one parcel for years as the Ketchum family's land. And then John purchased the 8580 portion from Luke when he knew that Luke was going to put the 8546 parcel on the market. So they were originally separated, or together, but they became separated at the end of 2019.
So Haber here, Mr. Ginty, that case 16, 1996 BZA, that just referenced the address as being 8546.
That's correct. Yeah, it references 8546, and that's why there is. And we tried to make it apparent in the staff report that that staff was a little bit the history there's a little bit murky.
Well, you probably did a really good job. I was a little murky. I was a little murky myself.
Sure. Yeah.
I have no other questions, Mr. Chair, Mr. Albin.
Okay. Carrie, are there any other comments or questions? Okay, hearing, we will take this under consideration either tonight or at one of our upcoming meetings. Thank you for participation. Anyone wishes to remain on the line is welcome. So we can move on to the
Mr. Halpin, do we want to close the public hearing? And the way the agenda is written is we will discuss this case after the public hearing's been closed.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, this is Jeff, and I move that we close the public hearing and move on to agenda item number 4.
Haber, second.
Let's do a roll.
Mr. Shekels?
Okay, yeah, aye. Okay, I was a little confused about what we were doing there. Okay.
Mr. Sion?
Aye.
Mr. Haber?
Aye.
Mr. Nye?
Aye.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye. Want to take this into consideration, or?
This is Jeff Nye. I'm happy to start the discussion. I'm in favor of granting both variances here. I think this is obviously an exceptional parcel. For whatever reason, I think if this road were being built today, they would not do it like this. And so the property owners there are in a bit of an unusual predicament. I think with respect to the use variance in particular, all 4 findings about exceptional circumstances applying to the property that do not result from the actions of the property owner, that the variance is necessary to make the property useful, that really couldn't be used for a home, and that it won't have any material effect on the district or the vicinity or the neighbors. So I think all 4 factors weigh in favor of the use variance. And with respect to the area variance, the only one of the 7 factors we have there, the only one that doesn't weigh in favor of the property owner here is that they purchased the property with knowledge of the zoning restriction, at least constructive knowledge, maybe actual knowledge. But all 6 of the other factors weigh in their favor. And I think the most important ones are really the variance is not particularly substantial, I think, given the other use on the property. And I think the spirit intent of the zoning requirement would be observed. And so I would grant both variances. I would impose the additional condition that to the extent possible, the owner maintain the existing vegetative screen. I say to the extent possible because if some of that is in the ODOT right of way, ODOT may tell them to remove it. And that's, or ODOT would just remove it themselves. There's nothing they can do about that. So that's my take on it, and I'll yield the floor.
Mr. Shekels, I have reviewed the facts. I don't know of any reason not to grant both variances. The vegetation screens on ODOT property, so that's really in ODOT's hands, and I don't think the owner has any control over that. But I'm in favor of granting both.
Any other comments?
Haber here. I have nothing to add and am in support of my two previous colleagues.
This is Paul Sign here, and I would echo the sentiment.
Okay. Well, then I guess we could go ahead and go for a vote. We need a motion.
Mr. Chair, this is Jeff Nye with respect to case 20-2020. I move that we grant both the use in the area variance subject to the condition that the property owner maintain existing vegetative screening to the extent permitted by ODOT.
The second?
Haber started within 1 year and completed within 2 years.
Yes.
I'll second the motion. It's Paul Sign.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, Mr. Shekels,
Aye.
Mr. Sion,
Aye.
Mr. Haber,
Aye.
Mr. Nye,
Aye.
Mr. Halpin.
Aye. Go ahead and move case number 21-2020.
Yes, thank you. My name is Kyle Gibbs. I'm the co-op for planning and zoning here at Anderson Township. And I will be presenting case 21-2020. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Right. So the applicant is Michael Murray. He's the property owner at 8033 Forest Acres Drive. That's Zone B residence. The request is that the applicant would like a variance for a rear yard setback of 32 foot, where 35 foot is required per Article 3.5 C2C of the Anderson Township zoning resolution. So the applicant is proposing to construct a 20 foot by 37 foot patio in the rear yard, where 20 foot by 18 foot of that will be covered unenclosed by a roof attached to the existing house and will serve as an outdoor living area. The only zoning history for the property is the initial zoning certificate that was issued June 2014 for the single family house and front porch. So here on the property map, it does front Forest Acres, which extends south off of Forest Road. The adjacent property to the rear property line in question actually fronts Forest, address number 8129. And as you can see to the west of the applicant's property, there is no existing residence structure directly located behind the rear property line. Aerial footage shows a little bit more of what's happening along that rear property line. Currently, there's a lot of tree canopy nearby. The topography of the property is relatively flat. The adjacent property has very little elevation change at all to the west. Proposed site plan shows the 20 foot by 37 foot patio. Again, 18 foot of that will be covered, connected to the existing house. The original concrete slab that is there is supposed to be removed and replaced by the patio. The applicant submitted a few elevation renderings showing the connection of the roof to the property and the dimensions of the covered patio. Front of the property, so this is looking from Forest Acres Road. From Forest Acres, you cannot see the proposal in question. We got the rear property line. So the proposal will actually begin on the furthest edge of the house where you see the existing patio currently, it'll extend all the way to the edge of the brick where the siding begins to the right. One thing to kind of point out, you can start to see the surrounding areas that kind of get an idea of the character of the neighborhood. You can see that the property next door has an enclosed outdoor area and a pool. This shows the existing patio. You can also see the adjacent residence to the rear property line in question in this image. There's a 141 foot separation between the rear property line and that residential house. Another angle of the existing patio here. Again, that the proposal will go right to the edge of the brick next to the siding change on the property. You can see the elevated deck on the property next door. Just to kind of, again, kind of showcase the character of the surrounding properties. Here, this is looking from the proposed patio, looking out towards the rear yard and onto the adjacent property to the west. There's two mature trees that are in line with it, providing screening. There is no developed structures near the rear property line. This is looking from the rear property line towards the proposed deck area. The screening of the tree canopy hangs down. There's a little bit of an elevation change to where the patio will be elevated from the rear property line in the view. This is looking north down the rear property line. And then again, looking south along the property line. Really, you can see the two mature trees kind of border the property line, and again, provide that screening. And then this was looking northeast from the corner of the rear property line, looking at the proposed deck and the two mature trees. Great, so the staff came to the conclusion that the variance is not substantial, that the two mature trees provide screening between the rear yard and the adjacent property. The proposed addition only encroaches into the required rear yard setback by 3 foot, and it does comply with the required 8 foot side yard setback on the side facing the closest neighbor. The essential character of the neighborhood will not be altered, and adjoining properties would not suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance. The proposed addition is planned to match the existing residence, and surrounding properties have similar outdoor features, as we saw in the photos: patios, pools, decks. And then the variance will not adversely affect the delivery of governmental services. And the owner's predicament, we found, could be feasibly obviated through some other method other than the variance. The width of the proposed addition could be shortened to 17 foot by 37 foot. That way that the actual covered patio would comply with the required 35 foot rear yard setback, or the actual accessory structure, since it's attached to the house in the rear yard, would be permitted with only a 3 foot rear yard property line setback. However, the applicant would like the covered patio to attach to the existing structure. The staff is the opinion that the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed and substantial justice done by granting the variance based on the existing vegetative screening along the west property line, and the fact that the addition proposed matches the existing residence and the surrounding neighborhood features. And I can take any questions that you may have.
Haber here, could you go back to the site plan, the cage? Because there was something on there that I don't. Okay. The dimension from the rear property line, because I can't see it, I can't read it,
Yes.
which is not on our drawings, but that one right there, is that the 32 feet dimension?
Yes, it is.
So the 32 feet goes from the property line to the edge of the patio, and then there's an additional 2 feet to the structure. So the structure the addition has a setback of 34 feet. Is that correct?
So the only thing I could find, if you move forward into the renderings, they kind of show the 20 foot as being the overhang from the roof attached to the structure, and then the patio width is actually 18 foot. So I believe that based off that site plan, the dimension of the patio being 37 foot by 20 foot would leave 32 foot setback, if I'm reading it right.
So what I hear you saying here, go back to that where you just were, right? So there's 18 feet from the face of the house to the columns, and then what I'm seeing here is a 2 foot overhang. So the overhang at 20 feet is going to be the same location as the edge of patio. So then both the edge of patio and the roof structure have the 32 foot setback.
So that's the way that I interpreted that. Could be a question for the applicant.
Yeah, thank you. No, thanks for the clarification. No other questions.
This is 9. No questions from me.
No questions from Sion.
Shekels, no question.
It looks like John Halpin might be on mute.
Yeah, so it makes me send a request to the person to unmute them and mute them. So it's a weird. I guess it's a new update.
John, are you able to unmute yourself?
I unmuted him as well. See, there's two John Halpins, 3 John Halpins.
3.
Why does John keep doing this?
There's a lot of John.
It won't stop. It's muting me. Plus, I don't know to get all of me off of there. Okay. Will the appellant please unmute yourself and speak into your phone or microphone and state your name and address?
Michael Murray, 833 Forest Acres Drive.
Okay. Raise your right hand and swear or affirm. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead and present your appeal.
To answer the question that was asked earlier, yes, you're spot on. The concrete will actually come out 20 feet. The rendering here shows the posts at approximately 18 feet. The contractor that we're using, Coldstream Exteriors, in particular Marty Obers, is the person that we're working with, said that he wasn't able to give us a rendering that was more specific to the project until it had been approved. I think for concerns that we might run with it and go to another contractor potentially because we haven't paid them anything yet. And I completely understand that. So I apologize for the rendering being so simplistic, but it will be much more decorative and it'll look a lot better than what you're seeing on the screen. So yeah, the concrete will go out 20 feet, as will the roof. And what the rear setback requirement, the roof is what matters, not the actual concrete. So the structure will, at the farthest point, be 20 feet from the house, meaning that it's within over 3 feet of the required setback, so 32 feet. Thank you. Yeah, that's better. So we bought this house this summer. The slab that's there is currently 17 by 17. So if you looked at that picture, the new slab would go out 3 feet further. Our old house had a pergola on it that was 20 feet by 20 feet. And we just really like that distance. We don't feel like going any shorter than 20 feet would be worthwhile. It just makes that space look so much smaller. That little bit of 3 feet. It's what we're used to. It's what we like. The structure will match the current house. We feel that it will not only be useful for us to spend time outdoors, but we also think that it will add value to the house and to the neighborhood. I'm open for questions. I think it's been laid out pretty well by Kyle, what we're trying to do here, but I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you all have.
No questions.
No questions from Sion.
To the matching the exterior of the house. Can you expound upon that a little bit? Are the columns going to be brick or something like that, or what's that going to look like?
The posts will be pine, but they'll be wrapped in cedar. They'll be painted to match the house. The fascia and the other wood trim will also be painted to match the house. There will actually be, you can't see this on the rendering, but there will be a soffit and gutters on the roof that overhangs the patio. Those will also match the soffit and the gutters on the house currently. You can't see it unless you're under it, but the inside of the ceiling will be tongue and groove pine that will be stained and sealed. There will be a ceiling fan and lights and electric installed inside the roof as well for functionality and obviously to make it feel a lot nicer for us. Also, what you don't see on this rendering will be 2x10s or 2x12s, I think, actually, that will run from the house out to the end of the roofing structure, and that will be enclosed to match the house. So it won't just be a roof with some posts like this rendering shows. Probably doesn't matter because it's just concrete, but we're going to stamp the entire patio to a slate-like stamped concrete to also tie into the house as well. I think that's the best way to answer it, though. The posts will be wrapped in cedar and then painted to match the current house, as opposed to just being exposed pressure-treated pine. We might later on decide to stone wrap it, but that's something that I can do myself, I feel like, for a much less cost. But for purposes now, the cedar and the painting to match the house is what we feel is best.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Mr. Halpin, it looks like you're on mute again.
Is he able to unmute himself, or is it something on our end? There's 4 John Halpins now.
Almost enough.
Yeah, it only lets me send a request to unmute.
John, are you able to unmute yourself? That should be a button on the bottom of the screen.
I don't know if we need a motion, but I propose we have Mr. Nye take over.
Mr. Halpin, are you able to unmute yourself, or should we have Mr. Nye step into chair some of the rest of the meeting.
Yeah, have Mr. Nye take over the rest of the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
I'm out of here.
Okay. Well, let me pull up my list of things to do here. Make sure I know where we are. Okay, we've heard from Mr. Murray. Did the board have any other questions for him?
Haber, none.
Shekels, no.
Cyan, no.
Okay. Did John leave altogether? Are we going to have
So
who's next in line if he's to hear the rest of the cases?
So I think we have Earl Carell online. I think, would we maybe just want to finish this case with the 4 members who just heard it and then decide and journalize, and then Earl can step in for the next case?
I think that's probably the best way to do it. Okay, so we've heard from the appellant. Is there anyone else on the line who would like to speak in favor of the appellant in, which case is this? I've lost my sheet here. I'm sorry. It's upside down. Is there anyone on the line who would like to speak in favor of the appellant to case 21-2020 BZA? Anyone else on the line who'd like to speak in favor of case 21-2020? This is 833 Forest Acres Drive. Okay, I'm not hearing anyone, so we'll move on. Is there anyone on the line who would like to speak in opposition to the appellant in case 21-2020? Asking again, is there anyone on the line who'd like to speak in opposition to the appellant in case 21-2020? That's the application for 833 Forest Acres Drive. Okay, I'm not hearing any. I think we can close the public hearing at this point. Is there a motion?
Haber, so moved.
Cyan, second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Will you please call the roll?
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Cyan?
Aye.
Mr. Haber?
Aye.
Mr. Nye?
Aye. Okay, that concludes item number 5 on the agenda. We'll now move on to discuss the case. Mr. Stein, would you like to start us off here? You're at the top of my list.
Sure. I got no objection. It seems that they're doing a detached structure. It would probably not even be in front of us, but for the simple fact that they want to attach it to their house. Hence the variance comes in. So it's kind of a situation where the way it's currently said doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm in favor of approving it, based on that.
Okay, Mr. Shekels?
I'm in favor of approving it with the usual condition of starting within a year, finishing with 2, and 2 other items. The renderings are just don't give us any real scope to the project. I'd like to see it state in our approval to be consistent with the character of the existing structure, and the owner has mentioned that the post would be wrapped in cedar, not just standard treated wood. I'd like to include that as a condition as well.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Shekels?
No.
Okay, Mr. Haber?
Total agreement. That's all.
I agree with all that. Again, looking at our 7 factors, the only one that doesn't weigh in favor, or at least isn't neutral or in favor, is again that the property owner knew about the restriction when they purchased it, but I think it's not substantial as long as we impose that condition that it matches the existing structure. I think it won't affect the neighborhood and so on. So I would also favor granting it subject to those conditions. Would anyone like to make a motion to that effect?
For 21-2020 BZA, I move that we approve the variance subject to new plans being submitted to staff, and that the retain conformance with the drawings dated October 15th, 2020. Construction to be started within 1 year and completed within 2 years.
Before I ask for a second on that, let me ask staff. Would staff prefer that we require them to submit additional plans to reflect the match of the structure, or can we simply impose that condition and allow you to ensure compliance administratively?
So I would prefer if the board just made that decision tonight and didn't have to submit, and the applicant wasn't required to submit additional plans.
Okay, hearing that, Mr. Sion, do you want to modify your motion to simply impose the requirement that it match the existing structure without the requirement of additional plans?
Yes, I have no objection to that.
Okay, we've got a motion. Is there a second?
Haber, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Will you please call the roll?
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Sion?
Aye.
Mr. Haber?
Aye.
Mr. Nye?
Aye. Okay, Mr. Murray, we will journalize that entry later today. If you want to get back in touch with staff tomorrow, you can pick up the zoning certificate as soon as it's ready. Maybe tomorrow, maybe early next week. And you are welcome to stick around for that, but you don't need to. Okay, moving on. That's agenda item 6. Moving on to agenda item number 7. This is, let me shuffle some papers. Agenda item number 7 is consideration of case 22-2020 BZA, which is a variance request to allow an existing 6-foot high privacy fence in the front yard at 1063 Sutton Road. Will the staff please present the case? Wait, before I do that, the applicants here are Heather and Thomas Buckman. Are they on the line? Either Heather or Thomas Buckman. Are you on the line? Just let us know so we don't do this whole thing without you.
Yeah, Thomas is here.
You're here. Okay, great. We'll come back to you.
Sorry, I hit the wrong thing, I believe.
No problem. I just didn't want to go through this whole thing and find out that you weren't on the line for some reason. That has happened to us before. Okay, we'll come back to you in a minute. Will the staff please present case 22?
Thank you, Mr. Nye. I was just wondering if you could, just so we have it in the minutes, just acknowledge Mr. Correll filling in for Mr. Halpin.
Yes, before we go any further, Earl Correll is our alternate. He is stepping in to take over for Mr. Halpin, who was on the line previously, but then started to have some technical difficulties. So here in this case will be Mr. Correll, Mr. Sion, Mr. Shekels, Mr. Haber, and myself.
All right, great. Thank you. Just want to make sure that got in the minutes and everything.
Yeah.
So this is case number 22, 2020 BZA. The applicant is Thomas, Heather and Thomas Buckman. They are the property owners. The property is located at 1063 Sutton Road, Zone C residence. The request before you this evening is a variance request to allow a 6-foot high privacy fence in the front yard of the property, where only a 4-foot high, 75% open fence is permitted, and that is per Article 5.2A9 of the zoning resolution. The applicant is requesting a variance to allow an existing 6-foot high privacy fence in the front yard of the property. Only a 4-foot high, 75% open fence is permitted. According to the applicant, the 6-foot high privacy fence was installed prior to their purchase of the property. A little bit of history of the property. The house was built in 2017 and included a concrete patio in the rear yard, plus a covered front porch. The current property owner purchased the property in September 2017, and according to the applicant, the existing 6-foot high privacy fence in the front yard was installed when the residence was constructed in 2017. However, this was not noted on the zoning certificate. In July 2020, staff received a complaint about a 6-foot high privacy fence constructed in the side yard at 1057 Sutton Road. This is the property to the south. Upon inspection, staff also noticed the 6-foot high privacy fence in the front yard of 1063 Sutton Road and notified the applicant of the violation. The 6-foot high privacy fence at 1057 Sutton Road has been brought into compliance. This is a property map showing the residence at 1063 Sutton Road. The property to the south, as I mentioned earlier, is 1057 Sutton Road. There's an existing carport that's very close to the two property lines. This is the aerial map showing the property. And this is a topography map of the property. So this just shows that the site is relatively flat. Here's the proposed site plan. So the existing 6-foot high privacy fence is the pink area here. It's approximately 20 feet in length, and again, is 6 foot tall. So it screens an existing carport that's located at 1057 Sutton Road. This is the existing 6-foot high privacy fence that's located at 1063 Sutton Road. The existing carport at 1057 Sutton Road is located to the left of this fence. And looking towards the south is the existing 6-foot high privacy fence. And this is looking over towards the west. To the left at 1057 is the existing carport, and to the right is 1053 Sutton Road. And this just shows there's a variety of fencing styles that are located in this area between 1063 Sutton Road and 1057 Sutton Road. Staff findings. Staff is of the opinion that the variance would not be substantial. The 6-foot high privacy fence is only approximately 20 feet in length and screens an existing non-conforming carport at 1057 Sutton Road. The essential character of the neighborhood would not be altered, and adjoining properties would not suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance. The existing 6-foot high privacy fence screens the residence from a non-conforming carport in the driveway of 1057 Sutton Road. In addition, in 2017, a variance was granted through Case 3, 2017 BZA to allow a 6-foot high privacy fence in the side yard at the property to the east, and that's located across the street at 1062 Sutton Road. The variance would not adversely affect the delivery of government services. The property owner's predicament can be feasibly obviated through some method other than a variance. A 4-foot high, 75% open fence would be permitted anywhere on the property, or landscape screening could be installed. But the applicant has indicated they want more screening to block the existing carport on the neighboring property to the south. Staff is of the opinion that the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed by granting the variance due to the applicant's desire for screening from the neighboring non-conforming carport to the south. The approved variance at 1062 Sutton Road to allow a 6-foot high privacy fence in the side yard and the length of the existing fence. And these are the standards to be considered. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Mr. Sine, any questions for staff? Mr. Shekels?
No questions.
Mr. Haber?
None, thank you.
Mr. Correll?
None.
Okay, I don't have any either. So I think we heard that Mr. Buckman is on the line. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you please state your name and address, and then I'll swear you in.
Thomas Buckman, 1063 Sutton Road.
Okay, and please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, you heard the staff report. Please tell us anything else you'd like to tell us about your application.
Yeah, I think you guys pretty much covered it. I think that the two things are, I mean, we had no idea that was against code or whatever. We just purchased the home and with that there, and I do think our main thing is having it high enough at the 6 feet that it does block that carport. I mean, that's our main thing. I think just for the I just think it probably just looks better for the road. That I think you guys covered everything else. But I think the appearance at 6 feet, I think looks a lot better.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sion, do you have any questions for the appellant?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Shekels?
No questions.
Mr. Haber?
None, thank you.
Mr. Correll?
And thank you.
My only question, Mr. Buckman, is do you know, I know this area well because I live over on Eversole and I drive down Sutton quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
And I know, and we can see in some of the photos that the property next door, the driveway at least, is kind of lower than your property. And the carport there, if the fence wasn't there and you stood right there on the property line, how high off the ground would the carport be, if you know? Because it seems to me that it is pretty close to that 6 foot height. And I don't know that we can quite tell necessarily from the photos.
So you're asking like how high is the carport basically?
Yeah, like if the fence was 5.5 feet tall, it might still shield the carport. But if it was 4 feet, my sense is that it probably wouldn't. The carport would then be higher than the fence. Is that right?
Yeah, I think at 4 feet. I think that the top there's like a kind of like a aluminum tin covering that would be appearing.
Yeah. Okay. So
yeah, I can check. I'm not sure the actual height, but I'm pretty sure about that.
No, I don't need you to run outside or anything. I'm just trying to get a sense of it. I think one of the reasons you're applying for the variance is that if it were a shorter fence, it just wouldn't serve the purpose. Setting aside the openness of it, it just wouldn't shield the view. Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. That was my only question. Mr. Sion, having heard that, do you have any follow-up?
Nothing further, thank you.
Mr. Shekels?
No questions.
Mr. Haber?
Yes. And this is I did have a question for staff. Is that you received a complaint about the privacy fence constructed in the side yard of 1057 Sutton Road. Has that privacy fence been removed? Has that situation been rectified?
Yes, we have a zoning certificate on file. They modified it to be a 4 foot tall, 75% open fence.
Okay. I guess I have two other issues here. And I'll ask the one to staff is we have a non-conforming fence here that we're considering a variance. And you're indicating that the carport is non-conforming. Is there any reason why the non-conforming carport is left non-conforming without variance request? And here we are looking at the fence that's non-conforming, and we've asked the property owner to come with a variance request.
Sure, yeah, I'd be happy to answer that, Mr. Haber. So the existing fence that is before you this evening was, to the best of our knowledge, constructed in 2017. So this is when we had current zoning regulations in place. For the carport, staff's unable to determine when exactly it was constructed. So it could have been prior to our zoning resolution coming into effect.
Okay, so we're saying then that even though it's non-conforming, it's allowed because we have no information about it.
That's correct.
Okay. Good. I'll raise my other question in our deliberations. Thank you. No other questions, Mr. Nye. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Correll, any questions?
None, thank you.
Okay, and Mr. Sion, back to you. Having heard now Mr. Haber's questions, anything to add?
No, nothing further, thank you.
Mr. Shekels?
No.
Okay, nothing else from me either. So is there anyone, Mr. Buckman, thank you. Is there anyone else on the line who would like to speak in favor of the appellant in case 22 today. Anyone else on the line who'd like to speak in favor of the appellant in case 22, which is for the fence at 1063 Sutton? Okay, hearing none, is there anyone on the line who would like to speak in opposition to the appellant in case 22? Anyone on the line who'd like to speak in opposition to the appellant in case 22 tonight? That's the fence at 1063 Sutton. Last call. Anyone on the line who would like to be heard with respect to 1063 Sutton Road, case number 22? Okay, I'm not hearing anyone else. Do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
Cyan, so moved.
I second.
There's a motion and a second. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Perot,
Aye.
Mr. Shekels,
Aye.
Mr. Cyan,
Aye.
Mr. Haber,
Aye.
Mr. Nye.
Aye. Okay, that completes item number 7 on the agenda. Number 8 is discussion of the case. Mr. Cyan, do you want to start us off?
I have no
I tell you what,
objection.
Mr. Cyan, rather than putting you on the spot, I know Mr. Haber said he had another issue that he wanted to raise in deliberations. Should we start with him?
Sure, that works for me.
Mr. Haber, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Nye. I'm in favor of granting the variance, and to know that the carport is there is non-conforming but allowed, and certainly think keeping the fence there is reasonable, and I certainly echo staff's findings. My question was this, and I don't even know if it's germane, and I'm interested in it from a permit point of view, is I'm assuming that, and I don't know, that when a house like this comes before zoning, that it gets approved, and then, as in any other kind of construction, there's a final permitting process to make sure that everything is in conformance. And I don't know if that happened or not, but here's my question, and maybe some other expertise would be able to help me with this, is the appellant bought the house with a non-conforming issue, and therefore, can we enforce the zoning code for a non-conforming issue? And again, I'm saying this may not even be germane. I'm just really interested in some expertise here that we hopefully may have. Is that can we enforce the zoning code on enforcement of the zoning code on somebody on a house that may be non-conforming? Well, I got crickets, so we just go around.
I'm just thinking about it. Are you saying that is it appropriate to potentially penalize this owner who bought it not knowing that anything was wrong?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's certainly one of the factors I think that we're supposed to consider in all of this. And I don't necessarily practice this kind of law, but as a lawyer, we generally tell people you need to know what you're buying, and so it's your obligation to look at what the zoning permits or allows. And I think the law would say that if we were not inclined to grant this variance, then this buyer, having person like this, would be out of luck. That's what the law says, and I think that's what we're here to do, is to give relief from that restriction. So can we hold them to that? Yes, I think we can. But the fact that they didn't know is, may weigh in favor of granting them relief and granting the variance, I think. Does that kind of address the issue?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a help. That's why I prefaced that question with my position on the case is that I think we ought to grant the variance. It was just kind of, information, especially when it comes to the zoning department having granted a zoning permit. My hopes would be that they would go out and then make sure that everything that was under the permit had been followed. So that as a good governmental department, as we're helping people, prevent problems like this.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
Steve,
Mr. Haber, if I may.
Go
I'm
ahead.
not trying to blame anybody. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to blame anybody here. I'm just trying to make sure that we understand the process here. So I'm not going to buy a house and I'm going to be in trouble.
Steve, this was,
Just as a point of clarification.
go ahead.
So just as a point of clarification and about what the process is. So when a zoning certificate's issued, we don't do it. Staff does not do any inspections unless there's a complaint made about the property.
Okay.
This is Paul. I went out there and visited the site, and I'm thinking, where is the property line? Because there's no survey stake, so I can't fault anybody on that. There's no survey stakes, no indication of property line per se. For all anybody knew, that fence could be on the neighbor's property.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
If this, Steve, back to your other point, if this were, something wrong with the structure itself, it might come up in an inspection for a certificate of occupancy. This not being an occupied structure, it would, I suppose, even citing issue wouldn't necessarily come up on a certificate of occupancy.
Well, I asked the question because in my whole tenure on BZA, which I think is going on 9 or 10 years, is I don't reflect any case where a property owner has purchased a structure with a non-conforming element like this. I think this is the first one that we've ever encountered like this.
Really?
Yeah. Best of my recollection.
Hey, you might be right. I mean, I can't immediately come to think of any others that I've had in the last couple of years, though I don't know. Either way, unless there's anything to add, you're in favor of granting the variance or anything else you want to add to that?
No, thank you. Thank you for indulging me. No reflection on staff. You guys do a great job. Don't worry about it.
You do. All right. Mr. Shekels, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I'm in favor of granting it.
Okay, Mr. Sion?
I'm in favor as well. Nothing else to add.
Mr. Correll?
No, I'm in favor of it.
Okay, I'm also in favor. I'll just want to put my reasons on the record. The big things we look at here are whether it's a substantial variance and the character of the neighborhood and so on. The variance is not substantial. You're allowed to have variance that's a little bigger. The character of the neighborhood won't be affected. These 4 houses are kind of stuck together. You got 2 kind of closer up to the stop sign, and you got 2 kind of farther down on the other side of an empty lot. So it's not like a sore thumb in a big neighborhood or anything like that. It's just kind of these 4 little houses close together. And I think the spirit and intent of the zoning resolution would be observed by granting the variance here. So I also am in favor of granting this variance. Do we have a motion to that effect?
Mr. Chair, this is Haber. Regarding case number 22-2020 BZA, I move that we grant the variance request to allow a 6-foot high privacy fence in the front yard of the property. I'm going to cite staff's findings. And again, I reflect upon your just recent testimony that was included with staff that in responding to the standards to be considered. It's constructed, so there's no thing to conform to, and there's no timetable.
This is Paul Sine. I'll second the motion.
Okay, will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Corral?
I approve.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Sion?
Aye.
Mr. Haber?
Aye.
Mr. Nye?
Aye. Okay, that completes item number 8 on our agenda. Mr. Buckman, we'll get that decision journalized later tonight. You're welcome to stick around for that. You don't have to. Papers will be signed tomorrow. If you want to get in touch with staff tomorrow about when you can pick up the zoning certificate of that, they will let you know when it's ready.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, next agenda item is number 9. This is consideration of case 23-2020. And this is a variance request to allow a 15 by 16 addition with a 20-foot rear yard setback where a 30-foot setback is required. So before we get into that, is the applicant Sean or Melanie Smith on the line here today? Sean or Melanie Smith, are you on the line? I see at least one call-in user who I've not heard from. Mr. and Ms. Smith on the line? Is anyone on the line with respect to case 23, the Smith property? Okay, I am not hearing anyone. I see a bunch of people on video. There appears to be one person who's called in by phone. Who is that person?
So this is Kyle Gibbs with the planning staff. I did happen to speak to the applicant this morning when I stopped by the property for photos, and she did say she was going to be calling in.
Okay.
Kyle, was that Ms. Cunningham? I know the Ms. Cunningham lives at the property. I believe she's related to the Smiths.
Yes, it was Miss Cunningham.
Oh, is Ms. Cunningham on the line? Does anyone know who call-in user number 3 is? Call-in user 3 has left the meeting. Okay.
That was Kyle, he said. I guess he called in.
Oh, but... Kyle was.
Oh, Kyle's in twice.
No, I was not the call-in user.
Oh, okay.
Call-in user logged off.
Okay, so the call-in user has logged off. So there doesn't appear to be anyone on the line for this case. Is there any way to try to get in touch with them, or do we just kick it over to next month? I think. Well, I mean, they're not here. We've been going for an hour and a half, so if they're not here, they're not coming at this point. They must have just gotten mixed up. I would say,
Mr. Nye?
Yeah.
Haber here. Do we need a motion to continue the case?
That's what I was going to ask for. Is there a motion to continue case 23 till next month?
I make a motion to continue.
Mr. Haber moves. Who's got a second on that?
Shekels.
Mr. Shekels seconded. Should we call the roll on that, please?
Mr. Corral?
Aye.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Sion?
Aye.
Mr. Haber?
Aye.
Mr. Nye?
Aye. Brad or PJ, you'll let them know, I assume, that we've continued it because they didn't make it in?
Yes, we will.
All right, and you'll want us to retain our packet on that, I imagine, so you don't have to deliver another one next month?
Correct.
Okay, so everyone hang on to that one. All right, so that's agenda item number 9. We will skip over agenda item number 10. That will also be continued. That brings us to case 11, or agenda item number 11. This is discussion of an old case. I know we heard earlier that we were going to journalize this case. I don't know that I have any documentation on this case. Can staff tell us what additional discussion might be required?
Yeah, so the applicant in case 11, 2019 BZA, one of the conditions is that the proposed addition be start construction within 1 year and be completed within 2 years. We are past 1 year, so the applicant has requested that condition be extended.
I see. Is there any information from the applicant about why they haven't started construction? I can think of a lot of reasons they might not have this year.
Yeah. Brad, do you talk to them? Do you?
I'm here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who was that we just heard from?
This is Linda Cunningham.
Linda, Ms. Cunningham, was it?
Yes, I am. I couldn't get off of mute.
Oh, I see. Okay. Can you sit tight for 1 second? Let's talk about, we've got another agenda item up right now, and then I'll come back to you in about 1 minute or maybe 2 minutes if I can, okay?
That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So, PJ, Brad, I assume that COVID has played into this somehow and they've just failed to get the project off the ground. Is that the sense of it?
I think so, Jeff. Yep.
Okay. Any discussion from the board on this? Mr. Sion, anything?
No, I'm in favor of allowing them to extend, considering the current state of affairs.
Guys, did they ask for another year or another 6 months or anything in particular?
I think they requested 1 year.
Okay. Mr. Shekels, anything to add on that?
I'm in favor of granting it.
Okay, Mr. Haber?
In favor. Thank you.
Mr. Correll?
I'm in favor.
Okay, I'm in favor as well. Is there a motion to amend the conditions on case 11 to start construction 1 year from today, finish it within 2 years from today, let's say?
So moved. Shekels.
Okay, Mr. Shekels moves. Is there a second?
Paul Sion, second.
Mr. Sines, second. So you please call the roll.
Mr. Correll?
Aye.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Sion?
Aye.
Mr. Haber?
Aye.
Mr. Nye?
Aye. Okay, that's agenda item number 11. And we'll journalize that in a minute. Meanwhile, let's go back to item number 9. I don't think it's necessary to have a motion to put that back on the agenda. I know Ms. Cunningham is on the line here now. We have not seen anyone else from the public come or go with respect to this. So even though we previously continued it, I'm comfortable proceeding now, a few minutes later. If anyone on the board feels differently, please speak up now. Okay, hearing none, will the staff please present case? But Ms. Cunningham, you're still on the line, right?
I am.
Okay, good. All right, we'll have the staff present the case 23 then.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Nye. This is PJ Ginty. The applicant is Sean and Melanie Smith. They are the property owners. The property in question today is 1638 8 Mile Road. The zoning is B2 CUP residence. The request is the applicant is requesting a variance for a rear yard setback of 20 feet, where 30 feet is required per Article 3.6 C2C of the Anderson Township zoning resolution. The applicant is proposing the construction of a 15-foot by 16-foot addition to the southeast corner of the existing residence. This will be consistent with the style of the house, with a rear yard setback of 20 feet where 30 feet is required. The addition is to accommodate a new sitting room for the house. The house was built in 1952 and was purchased by the current property owner in August 2016. There are no other zoning certificates on file for this property. This is the property map showing the existing property. The proposed addition is going to come off the southeast corner of the house, and again be 20 feet away from the rear property line. The applicant and property owner also owns this property here at 1648 8 Mile Road. So here's an aerial map that shows the existing residence, as well as the existing residence at 1648 8 Mile Road. The topography of the site is relatively flat with a gentle slope from the northeast to the southwest. And here's the proposed site plan. As you can see, the 15-foot by 16-foot proposed addition to the property. The existing residence is 36 feet back from the property line. So therefore, the applicant is requesting a variance to allow 20 feet. Here are elevations showing the proposed addition to the property. Again, the applicant indicated that it will match the existing house. Some ground floor plans. And then this is the existing residence here at the property. This is looking from 8 Mile Road over towards the east. Again, looking towards the east, the proposed addition is going to be off of this back corner, back to the right there. This is the area of the proposed 15-foot by 16-foot addition. Again, the applicant indicated that this proposed addition will match the existing residence. This is looking over towards the north on the property. This is the proposed location of the existing of the proposed accessory structure. This addition that will meet the required side yard setback. And this is looking at the property towards the south. Past this fence here is where the proposed addition is going to go. And this is looking at the property towards to the west, looking at the rear yard of the property. And this is looking from the proposed addition to the residence at 1648 8 Mile Road. Again, the property owners and applicant also own this property at 1648 8 Mile. Staff is of the opinion that the variance is not substantial. The proposed addition is planned to match the existing residence and will not be visible from 8 Mile Road. The essential character of the neighborhood would not be altered, and adjoining properties would not suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance. While the nearest home to the proposed addition is approximately 35 feet to the south, the addition will adhere to the required side yard setback in this area. The nearest home to the east or to the rear of the property sits approximately 154 feet from the proposed addition and was recently constructed by the applicant. This house also sits higher in elevation than the property in question. The variance would not adversely affect the delivery of governmental services. The owner's predicament cannot be feasibly obviated through some method other than a variance. The house currently has a rear yard setback of approximately 36 feet. So any addition to the rear of the house will require a setback variance. Staff is of the opinion that the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed and substantial justice by granting the variance based on the fact that the proposed addition will match the existing house, the proximity to the nearest home to the east, and the fact that the property which will be impacted the most is owned by the applicant where they recently constructed a new single-family house. Here are the standards considered. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sion, do you have any questions for staff?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Shekels?
None.
Mr. Haber?
None, thank you.
Mr. Correll?
None, thank you.
I have one question. You may not know the answer to it. I'm just thinking about this neighborhood. This was kind of on a unique lot. It's between that church. It's backed up to Summit Elementary. I can't think, and obviously the new house in the back, that lot was split off and built in the last 2 or 3 years or whatever. I can't think of too many other lots in the area that kind of fit the description where you might parcel off most of it and build a new house in the back or anything like that. Can you think of anything in the area that, you know, like if we set up, if there were 100 other lots like this, I'd be more worried about what precedent we might set. I can't think of too many other, at least in this area. I'm sure there are plenty in the township, but you know, kind of in the 8 Mile corridor or wherever, I really can't think of too many others. Do you know if that?
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
So going back to the findings that was that staff had. Any sort of, if they were to do a 6-foot addition, it would then require a variance. So I would say it's unique in the fact that the existing residence is already is barely meeting the required setback.
Okay.
Now, as far as your other part of the question, I'd have to do some more research for this area to find it.
Don't worry about that. Okay, thank you. Any based on that, any follow up, Mr. Stein?
No follow-up, thank you.
Mr. Shekels?
None, thank you.
Mr. Haber?
None, thank you.
Mr. Correll?
None, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Cunningham, are you still on the line with us?
I am.
Okay, will you please state your name and address, and then I'll have you sworn in.
My name is Linda Cunningham. I live at 1638 8 Mile Road.
Okay, and as I understand it, you are the mother of one of the applicants, Sean or Melanie Smith.
Yes.
Is that right?
Melanie Smith is my daughter.
Okay, will you please raise your right hand?
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, you've heard staff's report. Please tell us anything else you'd like to tell us about your appeal theory.
Well, first, let me apologize for my butting in before, but I sat through the entire meeting, and when it came to unmute, and I pressed what I was supposed to press, it wouldn't unmute. So I had to call back in and start over.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's not your fault. It's mine. I'm technologically illiterate. Well, as I said, my name is Linda Cunningham, and a few years ago, I had a stroke, and at that time, I lived in a 3,000 plus square foot house in Claremont County. My kids, who are all adults, because of my limitations, said I could not stay in that house. So my daughter and son-in-law came across this property, and it seemed perfect because this little house was right in front of it. So they bought the whole property and put me in the little house, which is a great little house. It's very small, about 1,000 square feet. The problem is that I had 10 grandchildren, and when we're all together, there are 22 of us. Now, we haven't been together for months and months and months because of COVID, but I just need someplace to spread out some of my grandchildren, and that when they come. And I can't get in the basement. I'm not allowed to do stairs, so this was about the only option I had, was to do an addition for a playroom or something for the children where they could go sit and play. And so that's the reason for wanting to do this, and hopefully it'll work out.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Stein, any questions for Ms. Cunningham?
No, thank you.
Mr. Shekels?
No questions.
Mr. Haber?
None, thank you.
Mr. Correll?
None, thank you.
Okay, I don't have any either. Okay, I don't think we've got anyone else on the line, but I'll ask, is there anyone on the line who would like to speak in favor of the appellant in case number 23? Asking again, is there anyone on the line who'd like to speak in favor of the appellant in case 23, which is 1638 8 Mile Road? Okay, I don't hear any. Is there anyone on the line who would like to speak in opposition to case number 23? Anyone on the line who'd like to speak in opposition to case 23? This is 1638 8 Mile Road. Okay, I don't hear anything. I think we can probably close the public hearing on this. Is there a motion?
So moved, Haber.
Stein, second.
Is there a second? Mr. Stein, seconds. Will you please call the roll?
Mr. Correll?
Aye.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Sion?
Aye.
Mr. Haber?
Aye.
Mr. Nye?
Aye. Okay. Anyone like to volunteer to start the so that completes agenda item number 9, and that leaves us back to number 10, which is discussion of the case. Anyone want to volunteer to start us?
Mr. Shackleswell, I'm in favor of granting the motion. I discount the fact that the property owners are the same because they could sell tomorrow, you know. But looking at the project as it stands and presented, I would support it. Okay, I think it's an addition to the neighborhood.
Okay. Who's next? Mr. Stein, you want to have anything to add to that?
I'm in agreement. Looking at our standards too, I think it will yield a reasonable return for the property. I believe the variance is substantial. Are we talking about setback of 20 feet where 30 is required? So about 10 feet. And as you mentioned, Mr. Nye, the kind of the layout of that piece of property there kind of puts it at an odd corner. It is helpful that the owner who's proposing this is they actually own both lots. They're the one who sits behind them, basically. They're probably the one who'd be most impacted by the aesthetic of it. Is the one also in favor of this. So I'm in agreement.
Very good. Mr. Haber?
I'm in favor. Thank you.
Mr. Corral?
I'm in favor.
Okay, I also am in favor. Again, you know, the back property line is the one that would be affected, and that house is still pretty far back. It's not like there's another house right up on there. It's hard to see, you know, how that is a substantial detriment to that neighbor. It's hard to see how any detriment to any other neighbor, and especially because they're owned by the same person. I think that helps. But even if they weren't in the future, that other house is just is well away. So so I'm also in favor. Is there a motion to approve the variance then?
I make a motion we approve.
Okay, that's Mr. Corral. Is there a second?
Sign the second.
Mr. Stein seconds. Mr. Corral, I assume we want to impose a standard condition of start construction within a year, complete within 2?
2 years, yes.
Okay, will the secretary please call the roll?
And in substantial conformance with the drawing.
Yes, and in substantial conformance with the plans dated, whatever that date is. Anybody know what the application date is? The application, no, that's the.
I think it's October 16th.
October 16th. I'll take your word for it. Okay, October 14th is what I got. Okay, come on. Okay, Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Corral?
Aye.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Sion?
Aye.
Mr. Haber?
Aye.
Mr. Nye?
Aye. Okay, that completes agenda item number 10. Ms. Cunningham, we're going to go through and approve these journal entries. You're welcome to stick around for that. You don't have to. If you or the Smiths want to get in touch with staff tomorrow, they'll let you know when you guys can pick up the zoning certificate for that. Okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
All right. That puts us back to agenda item number 12, which is decision and journalization of all these cases. Do we have any of those ready yet?
We do, yes. Let me pull those up. All right, is everyone able to see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Before we go farther, are the two variances set out separately, or are all these going to apply to both of them?
So I have it broken down where these are the use variance standards first. So 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Right. Okay. And then,
And then the area variance standards, it was written in the staff report to cover all the variances that would be requested.
okay.
So just let me know when to scroll down.
See, here's the thing. You say in the second line, the use variance, and I stopped and asked my question when I was in the middle of the first line of that paragraph. So if I had just kept going, I would have answered.
Oh.
So don't mind me. I'm good to move on.
Yep.
Okay.
Good to move on again. I'm good with everything on 1 through 4.
Yep.
Can't get over the essential character of the neighborhood on this particular property.
I've driven that way almost every day of my life out here, and I've never noticed that up there, the storage barn.
Yeah, it's hard to see.
Okay, I'm good.
Yes, good to hear.
Okay, I'm good there.
Yep.
So we did say on this that we wanted them to maintain existing vegetation to the extent that ODOT permits them. That was the only other thing I had.
Does that work right there? You want me to add in something about ODOT?
Yeah, I mean, that probably covers it.
Do you want to say to the greatest extent possible, or does that sound fine?
Yeah, I'm always in favor of superlatives when we can use them.
That works for me.
Haber here, they did say that the construction was going to match the existing accessory building. And if that was in the packet, then I'm fine with that if everybody else is.
Yeah, let me pull up the packet real quick and let me see. I don't remember if that was in there. The packet that we got does say match the existing building. So substantial conformity, the packets and plans, the October 26th is in there.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay. All right, that all looks good to me.
Mr. Nye, regarding case number 20-2020 BZA, I move that we approve and journal our decision.
Okay, we got a motion. Is there a second?
It's Paul Cyan, I second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Corral?
Aye.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Cyan?
Aye.
Mr. Haber?
Aye.
Mr. Nye?
Aye. All right, that's case 20. Hey, did you guys hear that the election is close?
What election?
Yeah.
We'll find out by 2024.
Maybe.
Is everyone able to see this?
I do not see that.
Yeah, let's try it again.
I don't either.
Well, guys, going forward, don't refer to me as Paul anymore. Use my nickname as Grill.
Brad, do you mind taking over host? It's not. Oh, there we go. Never mind. We're good.
Okay.
Froze on me for a minute. Alrighty.
What election?
I'm good with all that. I'm good with that.
I don't remember if there were any additional conditions imposed tonight.
I think there was one about matching the existing.
Yeah, matching the existing.
Right.
Oh, and then there was also, I believe it was Mr. Shekels that.
Yeah, but I don't think that made it into the final resolution. I'm okay with it.
So is this good right here?
Yeah.
Maybe just say match the look of the existing residence.
I'm good with all that.
All right.
Mr. Nye, regarding case number 21-2020 BZA, I move that we approve and journal our decision.
motion. Is there a second?
Paul Stein, I'll second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Correll,
Aye.
Mr. Shekels,
Aye.
Mr. Sion,
Aye.
Mr. Haber,
Aye.
Mr. Nye.
Aye. All right. 22.
Hey, Steve, I think I might have seen you the other day in Mount Lookout Square. I was driving by at the end of the day, and I think you were in the parking lot right there in the middle. I was driving up, so didn't say hi or anything. It was on Monday.
Didn't know if you were there or anything.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you I'll do a plug. Is my girlfriend recently purchased Buena Terra Gelato.
Oh, cool.
Right next to Ichiban.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So come on in. There's gelato there.
All right.
What's our discount for being board member?
Yeah.
Get better discount.
Yeah,
It depends. If you're gonna
We can't accept that.
if you're gonna say that my testimony here is overbearing and belligerent, then you can probably get all the gelato free that you want. So I'll probably be on the square a lot more.
While we're reading this, are carports illegal or are they legal in the township?
They're legal. PJ, did you want to take it? Sorry.
That's all I was going to say.
They're legal. They're considered an accessory structure. They just need to be in compliance with our accessory structure standards.
Okay.
Does that mean since it's in the front yard, that would make it non-conforming?
Right.
Yeah, I don't think it was meeting a side yard setback either.
See, Jeff, I knew I got October 16th from somewhere.
Yeah. Wrong, though. You know, yeah, no, the other one was the 14th. That's right.
Yeah,
This one is 16th. You're not crazy, as it turns out, or at least not because of that. Okay, I think I'm good with all that.
I guess really, it's just the one condition on this one.
Well, yeah, because it's already there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mr. Nye, regarding case number 22-2020 BZA, I move that we approve and journal our decision.
Motion, is there a second?
I second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Corral,
Aye.
Mr. Shekels,
Aye.
Mr. Sion,
Aye.
Mr. Haber,
Aye.
Mr. Nye.
Aye. All right. Case 20. We're doing 23 next, or are we going to go back to the 2009? We should probably do 23 next.
I'll do 20. Yeah, I got
Whatever you
23.
got. Okay.
I'll look.
These
I need
minutes-
to share it again.
These minutes are going to be all over the place.
Well, I'm glad she was able to make it tonight.
Yeah, me too. We'll have to get Jeff some headphones or something. Sorry, John.
John, yeah. He was having really bad feedback for a lot of the meeting, too.
Yeah.
Well, I got an angle on a good set of headphones. I got a tip from someone today.
All right, here we go.
good with all that.
Thanks.
I'm good to go.
Yep. Aha. Here's your date.
Yes.
Correct one.
Are you sure they submitted on the 14th?
So I looked in the file and I thought it said the 16th.
Because I thought they submitted
But
on
on
the deadline, but if they're dated the 14th, we'll just go with that. We just need to make sure the zoning resolution has the right date on it. The plans that we use in the zoning resolution.
Oh yeah, because on the 14th it shows like they have a type. They typed it in on the 14th.
Oh.
Remember they got in their like
I
notice
see.
of refusal super early, and they like. I feel like they had their plans in like right after their notice of refusal.
Jeff, I saw you point to that. In general, when we say dated a certain date, it's by the
Stamp.
date stamp. Yeah.
See, I don't have a stamp on mine.
I think we might have forgot it on that one.
All I got is the 14th. I don't care what you put in there. You can put it received on the 14th or dated the 14th or 16th.
It was the 16th. Yeah, it was the 16th that was in the.
If they're not
in the file.
if we have the file copy that says the 16th, let's go with the 16th, or we'll make sure that all the copy that gets attached to the zoning certificate says the 16th.
That's fine.
Mr. Nye, regarding case number 23-2020 BZA, I move that we approve and journal our decision.
So the motion, is there a second?
This is Cyan, second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Carell?
Aye.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Cyan?
Aye.
Mr. Haber?
Aye.
Mr. Nye?
Aye. All right, that concludes our agenda. Do we know if
We got one
anything
more.
else?
We got one more. Sorry, guys.
Oh.
This is our edit to the agenda.
All right, one more.
For the
This
bar.
is 11-19, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, my computer keeps like freezing when I try to share content. So the only amendment, different size? Yeah. So the only amendment for this one, construction shall be started within 1 year and completed within 2 years of the date of this amended decision.
Okay, and this is otherwise exactly the same?
Is there something at the top there that says it gives an amended date, PJ?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
If that's the only change, I will take your word for it that the rest of it matches, and I'm good with it.
Mr. Nye, regarding case 11-2019, I move that we approve our amended decision and journal.
So motion, is there a second?
All fine, I'll second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Carell?
Aye.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Cyan?
Aye.
Mr. Nye?
Aye.
Mr. Haber?
Aye.
Sorry. All right.
No free gelato for you.
Okay.
Well, thanks, everyone.
The agenda items, do we know if we have anything for December yet?
I think we've been in discussion with a few people. No one's submitted yet, but we've had a couple conversations.
All right. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second. All right. Any objection? No. Bang. We're adjourned by unanimous consent.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanksgiving.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night, guys.
I'm gonna be out the sign around 2 o'clock or so tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, great. Some of the resolutions, I guess the first one may have John's name on it. And Jeff, are you available to come in tomorrow to sign?
Somebody could come right after that.
Okay, I think we can make it work. I'll try and get all the resolutions up.
I can come in anytime, but
Okay. All right.
All right.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Yeah.